Hey guys, Puff Game back today. We're gonna have a video. Today I wanted to discuss DMZ versus Warzone and just kind of put the question out there regarding DMZ's future, what I think of it, and just going back. I played it a little bit yesterday. I did a little bit of a live stream last night in case you guys missed it. Wasn't the greatest gameplay, but it was still a lot of fun, and I played a couple games off stream as well. Now, we did the video the last raid right before Warzone 3 released here in early December, and finished out Warzone with a banger. Had like 11 kills myself, or 12 kills with this Justin. He had around 5 or 6, so we finished around 15, 16 kills. Just non-stop engagements, just really highlighting how fun DMZ was. There was a couple raids we had, big raids back in DMZ. We had one where we wiped 18 different players, I believe it was, just the two of us as a duo taking on multiple teams. So DMZ is a lot of fun, and I know with the struggles of Warzone, we typically go through the Warzone cycle. Now, the Warzone cycle right now we're seeing with Warzone 3. Granted, the developers are just returning from the holiday, which is completely acceptable. However, I think what happens this week, we should get a patch for Warzone weapons balancing tomorrow, which should be on January 10th of 2024 here. That's going to be a tell-all kind of where the future of this is going. I know right away they jumped on weapon patching before the Christmas and holiday break there. And now we're going to have to wait and see what they do here tomorrow with the weapon nerfing. But obviously we have the MTZ Interceptor, which is just a hugely broken weapon. You have the PKP Petronek Bullpup and some others that are definitely up in there as well that are being abused. But definitely the one that I see the most of is the Interceptor. And I think that one, it was a 2-shot kill, no matter where you're hitting people. They nerfed it, and now it's a 3-shot kill. Problem with that gun is it just recenters, has a perfect rate of fire. There's really no aim needed. I picked one up the other day also just playing, and you really don't even, it's just the easiest weapon to use. So you always have this. This is really part of the Warzone cycle. They release weapons. Granted, things are going to be broken. People are going to find this. Streamers will find it. You're posting things to get attention, views, impressions, clicks, and the new meta, this and that. And then people are going to use it. That's the natural cycle of a game. However, I remember in the Blackout days for Black Ops 4, Treyarch was all over that. Whenever there was a weapon that was very obviously busted, I remember there was a couple different weapons throughout that game's life cycle that were pretty broken. And Treyarch got on that patch within 2 to 3 days, and they nerfed it to an acceptable level. Not to where no one would ever use it again, but made it so it's still very, very viable, but not the most overpowered thing in the world. There was, if anyone played that game, there was at one point where the AUG in that game, assault rifle, the AUG assault rifle, I don't know what it was called in Black Ops 4 Blackout, but it was essentially an AUG, and it was a 3-burst assault rifle. And that thing with a 4x optic was just a laser. To kind of see that with a lot of the Warzone guns that are burst weapon in the early going here with the DG58, things like that. But Treyarch nerfed that right away. So this is kind of the Warzone cycle I'm referring to. You're going to get new guns. We get new iterations of Warzone. We get new guns. We get new mechanics, things like that. And things go unpatched or unbalanced to an acceptable level. Whereas it's going to, typically what we're seeing is we have broken meta, and it's going to take 3, 4, maybe even in some cases 5 patches to get that under control, and then something else is going to be broken. And they're only doing weapon patches maybe once a month if we're lucky. There was a point in Warzone, the end of Warzone 1's life cycle, where it was over 2 months without any sort of weapon balancing patch. So this, with a free-to-play game that's this scale, is really, really hard to believe that that's the cadence of weapon balancing they're doing when there's clearly broken weapons in the game, and it really takes away the fun from the fun factor. You have a lot of issues with Warzone that are, you have cheaters, aim assist, you have VPN, server connection, a lot of different issues, and then on top of that you have the meta problems, with the Interceptor being a prime example. They did nerf a lot of the weapons that were causing issues right away. However, the Interceptor is still a problem, so they really need to get on top of that. But that's the Warzone cycle. Now, going to DMZ, I jumped back into that the other day, and I had a blast. Not only did I think it looked amazing, it almost looked better than Modern Warfare 3, I thought, initially jumping in. It looked better. The movement did not feel as bad as you would have thought coming from Modern Warfare 3. The movement felt fine, in my opinion. The audio was a really nice surprise. You could actually hear things. You could hear enemy fire. You could hear your friendly fire. You could hear footsteps. not overpowered like everyone seems to think it was. You could hear the footsteps and clearly know there's someone around here, but in staircases, are they above, below? That was always an issue. It still is an issue, as it should be to balance it. We don't need a Milsim, Tarkov, Ready or Not type shooter here, but being able to hear things audio-wise was good. And DMZ, I had a lot of fun jumping back in. DMZ was what saved me in Modern Warfare 2 because I stopped playing Warzone 2 probably about 2 weeks, 3 weeks after it had released, and exclusively was DMZ the rest of the year. Now, DMZ avoided a lot of these problem cycles that I'm referring to. DMZ avoided those problem cycles that I'm referring to with Warzone, because DMZ was no gas, open world, not as many players. You had AI in there. You weren't coming across players as much, and it allowed you to really approach the game any way you wanted. Any weapon was viable. All the meta issues from Warzone 2 never really popped up in DMZ. So DMZ definitely saved Modern Warfare 2 for me, because that's exclusively all I played. Didn't have to go through the stress of the Warzone cycle of broken weapons, no patches, cheaters, this and that. As frustrated as DMZ could be, and it had its issues. I'm not trying to make it sound like it did not, and it was this perfect game. It had plenty of issues, but it avoided majority of the Warzone problems that we see with this Warzone cycle. Now with Warzone 3 coming up, I really didn't play any Warzone 2. So coming out of Warzone 1, a little bit of Warzone 2, and now into Warzone 3, seeing the same cycle over and over again 4 years, just about 4 years after Warzone's release, it's the same old thing. So it really begs the question, when is Warzone going to evolve to the next level where we're avoiding these same problems time after release after release? We're running the same issues every release, every new season. There's just the same problems over and over and over and over, and it's getting pretty exhausting, to be honest. So DMZ avoided the majority of that. Now DMZ had its issues, like I said. The assimilation should have never been a thing. They had it up to 6 players. You could even make you could do like 9 or something players at a time just by joining with Xbox and things like that. There was ways you could get these huge squads that were just team hunting other players, which is fine. However, with the predictable spawns and the assimilation and the vehicles they put in the game, like the MWIII and some others, it made it frustrating at times. There was definitely a lot of issues with that. They didn't really focus on making it an extraction shooter. It was more of a large-scale open TDM type thing, last survival. So it was a weird mode what they did with it. It had so much potential, but that being said, it was still a lot more enjoyable than Warzone. So here I am now. We're a little bit over a month into Warzone 3. I do like Warzone 3. I have a lot of fun with it. However, it is very, very frustrating at times. I think that a lot of the issues with the cheating, the aim assist problems, which I agree there is aim assist problems. I personally suck on controller, and I suck with my aim assist settings, and I cannot take advantage of it. So I believe it's a problem. I've seen the videos. I'm sure it is a problem. I wish I were smart enough to figure out these amazing settings so I could lock on to players with that too, because I get smoked in gunfights all the time. So someone needs to teach me those aim assist settings. But I've seen them. I agree it's definitely an issue. You have the cheating, like I said. You have server connection meta. There's so many problems there. And again, in DMZ, not as prevalent. You didn't run into as much of it. It was very small scale, and you could approach how you wanted. You weren't forced to push things with gas. You could approach firefights in different ways. You could think out firefights. It was really, again, a more open world type extraction shooter, battle royale type thing. So again, will DMZ come back? Going back and playing it, I really miss DMZ. And the one thing I take away from it, playing it the other day, was I really wish all the Modern Warfare 3 weapons were integrated in. So it's really crazy to me that they brought in Zombies, which has all the DMZ mechanics, and they didn't bring in DMZ. Now, Infinity Ward did release a statement regarding they learned a lot from DMZ. They thank you for the beta, and they'll take things going forward. So this leads me to believe we'll see DMZ again. It would be crazy if we didn't, because the extraction market is prime. I think that's the next step or iteration beyond the battle royales that we're seeing. And let's not kid ourselves here. Warzone is really not a true battle royale. DMZ has the potential to be one of the best extraction shooters on the market if Infinity Ward can go back and get that right. So will we see it move into Modern Warfare 3 at some point? I doubt it. although I do wish we would. I can be hopeful, but I think we'll see it as a standalone title or come in with Infinity Ward's next title in 2026. That being said, I had a lot of fun playing DMZ, and I definitely miss it. And that's something I think I'm going to be going back and playing more here and there. I'm going to still be focusing on Warzone 3 for the meantime, unless it gets really, really, really bad. But again, DMZ, it was refreshing. It was really fun to just be having open meta, not as much stuff. You did have some cheaters, for sure. Definitely had some obvious PC cheaters, but it is what it is. Regardless, I still had a fun time playing it. So I just really want to just throw this out there. The contrast between Warzone and DMZ. You have one a Battle Royale, one was supposed to be an extraction shooter, and then it seems like they just abandoned the extraction shooter for zombies, and now we have Warzone 3, which has its own issues. And zombies, I know people play zombies, people like zombies, but for me, zombies is just very boring. There's no reward because it's just the PvE. And I know when you push into the harder zones, it's more of a challenge, but there's still nothing there for me personally. I really love the extraction shooter, going in, doing the contracts, doing the missions, having the AI there, and then running into different players here and there. And again, there was issues with DMZ, but hopefully in the next iteration, whenever it comes out as a standalone title, maybe they'll bring it into Modern Warfare 3 at the end of the life cycle, or we'll see it in Infinity Ward's 2026 title. Regardless, I think they need to evolve with the times and make a true extraction shooter. You see things like Gray Zone Warfare is doing something really, really good on PC, where they're going to have 24/7 running servers, and players can come in and out any time of day, day-night cycles, it seems like. So you can go in there. There's no predictable spawns. It's completely randomized in sections of the map, and you'll never spawn in the same place twice usually. And you never know how many players are going to be in there at a given time. You could go in, and there could be no other players or teams in there, or there could be max teams in there. But again, you don't know because it's a 24/7 server. So something like that to take away the predictability of spawns. I think we see the same issue in Tarkov, where good experienced players know the spawns, and that's where I was with DMZ. We knew the spawns, and we knew where to go to get into firefights right away. We knew where teams were coming from, and we knew positions to hold in case we get into firefights. But again, DMZ has a lot of potential. I had a lot of fun playing it. I really want to pose the question to you guys. Which did you prefer? Do you prefer Warzone 3 or do you prefer DMZ? And I guess an even deeper question is that, do you prefer zombies or do you prefer DMZ? Now, personally, I don't know why there couldn't be DMZ and zombies. Something like that, like a dark zone within zombies to have DMZ, or just have two separate ones. It's really weird to me. You also already have the player base very split within Warzone and Resurgence. It seems like a lot of the casuals play Resurgence, and then a lot of the sweaty, try-hard, and the majority of the times that I have issues, cheaters play the actual Warzone Battle Royale version on the Kyrgyzstan map. When I play Resurgence, I feel like I'm playing with little babies. It's the easiest thing I've ever played in my life. I can go in there, get wins back to back to back, not an issue. And then you play Warzone, and it's sweaty as hell. So I really think they had a missed opportunity here with DMZ, and it's really going to be telling how Warzone 3 is handled throughout its life cycle here, especially since they're holding on to Verdansk, and supposedly that's going to be coming with this year's Call of Duty title at some point. I'm curious if, depending on how Warzone 3 does, if they release that Verdansk map sooner rather than later, which I would prefer if they did. I don't know why they would hold on to that. However, let me know your thoughts below. I had a lot of fun with DMZ. Let me know what you guys think of that game. The gameplay in the back, again, just a little bit of DMZ from the play sessions. Nothing crazy. Just was a lot of fun. It looked good. It felt good. And again, open meta. It's a lot of fun. It has its issues, but imagine if that were supported how it should have been supported, because Infinity Ward really didn't support it very well, in my opinion. I think there was a lot of missed opportunity there, but the potential's still there. Versus that being a beta game, which we saw for barely 12 months, right? And then you have Warzone 3, which is now Warzone as a game itself is just about approaching 4 years old. And we're seeing the same issues here in about to be year 4 as we saw in year 1. So I think that's a little bit of a topic to address. Is Warzone ever going to evolve and become a less broken type game where we're seeing this Warzone cycle as I described? And then what's the future of DMZ? Personally, I think DMZ should be a a cheap title, maybe $30, $20, something like that. Pay for it. It's standalone. It has all the weapons and operators and things like that from Modern Warfare 2019 through Modern Warfare 3, or maybe even additional games in there, and it should be a standalone title for maybe $30. Something like that. Again, that's just an idea. That's something I would like to see. I really hope it returns. I'm still just really missing the excitement of DMZ. Getting into some firefights yesterday, my heart was pounding, and you don't see that in Warzone. My heart never pounds in Warzone. My heart was pounded in DMZ, just as it would in Tarkov and a lot of firefights, because there is really there's something on the line with DMZ. As broken as that game is, also, and the issues it has, there's still firefights mean something, and they could make it so much more worthwhile than they did if they go back and address some of those things. So let me know your thoughts down below. Warzone, DMZ, zombies, which do you prefer? Why not all three? Give me your thoughts down below. I really want to explore this more. There's going to be more videos about this in the future, because again, we're going to monitor where Warzone 3 is going, the status of zombies, things like that, the broken meta, the Warzone cycle, versus going back and looking at what DMZ was and potentially where it could go in the future. Till next time, this is Buffering Gaming with Is DMZ Better Than Warzone 3? Until next time, Buffering Gaming, out.